So we have one more pair of speakers. They're going to speak together, and they represent our partner organization, Africa Climate Action Initiative and Community for Climate Action North Etobicoke. Tandeep is a volunteer communications coordinator for ACAI and has the pleasure to work with people who are conscious about the environment and climate. And the role has given her the opportunity to voice her passion and advocate for the protection of climate and a sustainable future. She holds an MA in International Relations from the University of Sheffield, England, and a PG in International Development from Humber College. And in the past, she has worked in the development sector in India, England, and France, overlooking projects in primary education, women empowerment, and capacity building. And right now, she's working as a coordinator in emergency management with the Canadian Red Cross. And Hannah is a Climate Action Africa Initiative volunteer supporting many of its ongoing projects, including the Community for Climate Action Initiative North Etobicoke, and also the partner organization PAC Policy. Now, maybe Hannah, you can explain what PAC is. She is currently in her 4th year at Humber College studying Bachelor of International Development, and her aspirations in international development are climate justice, education, intersectional theory, and global affairs. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you for that introduction and also for having us. I'm just going to start sharing my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's great.
Okay. So I just wanted to talk about, me and Hannah actually wanted to talk about climate action as a collective effort, and we would like to just give an overview of our community project that has been launched in January 2021. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit of certain facts that I actually came across the other day. So when we talk about 2020, I know what a year it has been. So the COVID-19 pandemic is not the only long-term crisis the world will remember for 2020. In 2020, the Northern Hemisphere experienced its hottest year on record, surpassing the 20th century average by 2.3 degrees. The global tropical cyclones in 2020 tied a record. Oceans were exceptionally warm. And in December 2020, average temperature across global land and ocean surfaces was 1.40 degrees Fahrenheit, above the 20th century average. What's interesting is nature is an untapped solution. So for tropical forests are incredibly effective at storing carbon, providing at least a third of the mitigation action needed to prevent the worst climate change scenarios. Yet, nature-based solutions receive only 3% of all climate funding. Now, this is very interesting, at least I found it very interesting. When we talk about fighting climate change, it actually improves livelihoods naturally. Community-led not-for-profits working to fight climate change are very underfunded. Natural climate solutions such as restoring degraded forests could create as many as 39 jobs per $1 million spent. That's a job creation rate more than 6 times higher than the oil and gas industry. Okay, so now I would like the opportunity to just introduce our organization, the organization we volunteer for, Africa Climate Action Initiative, or as we call it, ACAI. ACAI actually works alongside African communities on the front lines of climate change to adapt, mitigate, and build resilience. Our mission is to enhance the climate mitigation and adaptation response of African nations and their communities while building solidarity between Canadian and African communities tackling climate change. We believe Africa has the resources it needs to confront these challenges and lead the way towards a healthy and regenerative future. ACAI works with the partners to support the advancement of the initiatives underway across the continent. As you can see on the slide, these are the various partners that ACAI works with, such as Child Fund Kenya, the Rainmaker Enterprise, PAC Policy, Nelosha International, and many more. We also believe that climate action is a collective action, and thus we launched a first community initiative in Canada that was launched back in January 2021, which is called Community for Climate Action, North Etobicoke. So I'm going to pass it over to Hannah to give you a bit of overview of this project.
Right. Hi, thank you so much for the introduction, Tandeep and Colleen. So I'll be talking to you about Community Climate Action North Etobicoke. So much like Africa Climate Action Initiative, we started to reflect on our own role in mobilizing the climate action, education, and initiatives in our North Etobicoke project. So we launched this project maybe over a year ago. And we believe that collective effort can't be undertaken without understanding individual capacity and individual education and awareness. And so, in order to have a collective awareness over that, we have to also reflect on ourselves. So, a lot of our climate action or Etobicoke projects kind of focus on individual aspects of things as well as collective initiatives. So, a few of those would be food waste management, energy savings, climate education, as well as carbon footprint, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of our initiatives are funded by City of Toronto. We do partner with Humber College, Better Homes TO, Rexdale Women's Center, Climate Fast, and Cycle Toronto to run a lot of our workshops and initiatives. And we do our own individual projects, outreaches, and initiatives as well. Yeah. All right, so I'll be kind of running you through what we do specifically for each of our individual projects, and then Tandeep can take over. So waste management and food security. Globally, around 1/3 of food produced is lost or waste along the food chain from production to consumption. So that's quite a considerable amount. And I know that everyone has a specific best intention when it comes to food waste and food management. And one of the examples that I want to provide with this today is our North Etobicoke outreach that we do every 2 weeks. We've done 2 outreaches in the last 2 months, and it's concerning a North Etobicoke Kipling Avenue 2 apartment resident buildings. And we have been working with them in terms of making sure that their food compost goes towards a specific area, and their food compost, once it's collected, will be discarded to the community garden. And so kind of walking people through this education, why their action is important, kind of initiating that conversation has been a little bit, we did see a bit of pushback. We did see a bit of hesitance for people to be involved, but it is a much needed conversation that needs to be had. So it's a slow progress, but we are trying to get them to understand exactly how this effort would be beneficial for the entire community and its own. And we're hoping that it would be a starting point for them to build a collective effort and community amongst themselves so that they can have a support group as well. So that's one of the areas that we focus on for waste management and food security. For energy efficiency and savings, we do have a running workshop and several different resources that are provided by Better Homes TO. And we know that energy savings is not just turning off the lights and plugging off our computers when we're done using them. It's a lot more complex. And energy savings and efficiency, generally people are a little bit unaware of where to go besides their own individual needs. So Better Homes TO gives us a good understanding of what kind of sanctions and manuals that City of Toronto provides, and so on and so forth. So we do have workshops by them too. And pass it on to Tandeep.
Thank you, Hannah. So now I just want to talk about climate change knowledge as well, which is very important. So when we talk about collective action, there's so many ways you can actually turn your individual action into climate collective action. Like you see on the screen, it says 90%, 92% of the Torontarians agree that climate change threatens personal health and well-being, yet nearly half of them do not know what they can do to address it. So there's so many ways, such as you can keep yourself informed, share knowledge, and discuss climate issues with your friends and coworkers, like we're doing right now. Then look up environmental policies and vote with climate in mind, which is very important. Talk about climate change if you get polled or surveyed. Go to talks and debates locally and ask the speaker a question about climate changes related to their field. You can sign petitions and email your local representative about an issue you care about. You can contact politicians and business leaders on social media about an issue you care about and they can do something about. Go to a protest, it makes a bigger impact because it takes more effort than a click. Definitely volunteer for an NGO, charity, or local community group. Ideally, try and drag your friends along too. You can always campaign for your university or workplace to make a specific change, like switching to renewable energy or recycling. For this specific part of our project, we have actually partnered with Climate Fest. We have partnered with Transform Toronto and Humber College to actually initiate a dialogue within the community. Secondly, I would also like to talk about active transportation. So why ride a bike in Toronto? First of all, because it's healthy, it's convenient, it's cost effective and fun. You can combine cycling and transit while planning your route. Compared to a car, a bus emits 162 less grams of carbon dioxide for the same route. Contrary to normal perception, cycling is not a fitness activity that is solely involve the legs. Cycling builds strength in a holistic manner since every part of the body is involved in cycling. Plus, it is good for the climate as it reduces your carbon footprint. And for this initiative, we have partnered with Cycle Toronto in hosting training sessions in cycling. You can also learn how you can advocate for a safe and vibrant cycling city for all. And I just wanted to thank you all for being patient with us and listening to. And if you have any questions, you can always contact us. And if you want to join any of our sessions or workshops, I'm just going to copy and paste the links in the chat box as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tandeep and Hannah.